Hey guys, I hope you're ready for this Q&A video. So I asked you guys to post some questions you have both on here and Instagram, and I ended up getting a ton. So unfortunately, I can't answer all of them in this video, but I gathered a few of the most frequently asked, as well as ones that I thought would benefit many of you to hear. So let's begin. So this one asks about the best healthy fats or fiber sources for additional calories for high energy dogs. So animal fat will always be the best energy source, like raw pork fat, but if your dog can't tolerate a lot of animal fat, you can alternatively use coconut oil or ghee. Or if high saturated fats aren't tolerated either, you can also use a carbohydrate source like sweet potato, oats, or quinoa. The next question is about vitamin E and how sometimes it's measured in milligrams and other times it's measured in IU. So yes, this is a common issue that pops up for owners who are looking at NRC recommendations because it's in milligrams, but many bottles are in IU. So for D-alpha tocopherol, 1 IU equals 0.67 milligrams. So if your pet needs 6 milligrams, that would be about 9 IU. Stick around until the end of this video for something that may make remembering this a lot easier. The next question, what do you feed when your raw-fed dog is sick or has diarrhea? So if I ever see anyone have loose stool, I first try and troubleshoot to figure out what may have caused it so I can potentially prevent it the next time. In the meantime, I'll fast them for most of the day, and then for the next meal, they'll just get white muscle meats and a raw meaty bone without skin or fat. I'll also add a probiotic source like kefir, as well as slippery elm bark to soothe the digestive tract and firm the stool. If the diarrhea continues though, or they seem lethargic, a vet visit is definitely the next step. The next question is about manganese sources other than blue mussels, as well as if you need to add an additional vitamin D source if you're feeding something like sardines, which is for omega-3s. So, if you don't want to use mussels, you can use green tripe, or you can use a chelated manganese supplement. For the other question, if you're feeding enough sardines to provide enough vitamin D, then there's no other reason to add another vitamin D source on top of that. The next question, are chicken legs not a proper source of bone? A different raw group said that it does not provide adequate balance of calcium to phosphorus and that it should not be used as the bone percentage. So yes, even though there's 60% bone, the calcium content is much lower than you'd expect from that bone percentage. They can still be fed, you'll just need to feed a lot more than what seems like necessary. This is a great example as to why you can't always just rely on the bone percentage. The next question is, since we need to decrease the liver percentage when feeding ruminant animal liver, will there still be enough vitamin A in the meal? So for anyone who doesn't know, you should bring liver down to 2 to 3% when feeding something like beef liver because it's very high in copper. But does this bring down the vitamin A too low? No. Vitamin A is actually much above the recommended daily intake, even at 3%, which isn't bad because this is still safely within range. Even 5% liver is in a safe range unless it's duck liver, which is super high in vitamin A. So this is another liver that should also be fed around 3%. The next one is, are breed-specific dog foods a marketing technique? From all of the commercial brands that I've seen, the breed-specific recipes don't even have unique whole food ingredients. The main difference is actually just the shape of the kibble. These brands claim that because certain breeds have different facial and muzzle structures, the shape of the kibble makes it easier for them to chew. Sometimes they may add synthetic nutrients that will facilitate medical issues that the breed can be predisposed to, but that's about it. So is it a marketing technique? Yep. Do you think paying for a recipe is worth it for starting out raw with an 8-month-old puppy? So paying for a balanced recipe is often worth it when you're feeding a growing pet because they need a balanced diet daily. But if you're confident the diet you made is balanced, then probably not. But it is worth getting one if you're unsure. Alright, one of my most asked questions here was actually about natural flea and tick repellent. So I use a combination of a few things. The first is an amber collar with lava rocks that I put on Matsu when we go outside or hiking. The second is Wondercide flea and tick spray that I spray on his coat as well as the lava rocks. And the third is Wildly Blended's herbal flea and tick powder, which I put in his food each night. For Tangy and Choji, I don't do anything, and I have yet to ever see a flea or tick on them. I do want to note though that even this isn't perfect, and there have been times during the peak of summer where I did have to use prescription medication on Matsu. Tick-borne diseases are something I don't want to risk, so if I feel the need to use prescription prevention, I will. The climate that you live in is a major factor, so if you live in a warmer climate where summers are hot and winters are mild, this method may not work as well, and you might have to resort to prescription medication. Another one of my most asked questions was what kind of raw meaty bones should they feed to their specific dog's breed? So I do have a video on raw meaty bones that I will link below, but I also have a cheat sheet on our new website that shows you all of the raw meaty bones that are safe to feed and what species and breeds they're best for. This cheat sheet also includes muscle meats, organ meats, nutrient requirements, and common formulas that you need to figure out how to balance a meal. And it's also free. To get yours, just head over to paws of prey.com, which I will also link below.